Good afternoon, everyone. I am Susan McPherson, CEO and founder of McPherson Strategies, a social impact consultancy. What an absolute gift it is to be here with all of you change makers. But I'm most excited to introduce you to my good friend and superstar, Aria Finger, who's our next speaker. Aria is the Chief Old Person and CEO of DoSomething.org, the largest organization for young people and social change in the world, with 5 million members in 131 countries. Now, I've known Aria probably close to 10 years now, which is when she first started at Do Something. And she started as an associate, moving all the way up to be CEO today. And in her role, not only has she been instrumental in growing the organization, but has spearheaded partnerships with the likes of H&M, CVS Health, J&J, Coca-Cola, and now the UN Foundation. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Aria Finger.
So the leaders of 2030. We must understand young people today, teenagers, 20-somethings, if we want them to be the leaders of 2030. When I was asked to do this presentation, they said, talk about what keeps you up at night. And what keeps me up at night is the myths and misperceptions about these young people. And if we don't correct them, we will not be creating inclusive campaigns that engage these young people. So let's talk about 5 myths. Myth number 1 is for all those companies who come to me and say, what is the cause that young people care about most? If I just knew that cause, I could create an amazing campaign. Or the NGOs who say, I'm never going to get millennials or Gen Z to care about my organization because they just don't care about my cause. Well, it's just not true. Young people care about everything. They might care about some things more than others, but cause isn't the important variable. You can run an amazing campaign that gets young people involved around any cause. Don't believe me? Look at these companies and these campaigns that have captivated young people's attention. I'm pretty sure that 15 years ago, Blake Mycoskie didn't say, shoeless children in South America, now that's the cause that young people care about most. No, he knew that young people cared about purpose, and he created a company around it. The specific cause doesn't matter. Myth number 2, young people don't care about privacy, especially digital privacy. Well, if all young people don't care about privacy, then why are almost half of Do Something's members with private profiles on Instagram? And also, why do some young people have a public profile and a private profile, and they consider the public profile to be Finstagram, fake Instagram, used to fool us, the adults in the room? Or take a look at Dylan Sprouses. He's a celebrity influencer, nearly 2 million Instagram followers. And this is it. He just has 9 photos on Instagram, and 8 of them never change. Only 1 ever changes. He is highly curated, just like a lot of young people on Instagram. And I think that's one of the reasons why messaging apps have come to surpass social media in terms of success and importance for young people. Because young people don't necessarily want to be broadcasting their whole lives, they want one-to-one. And so because some young people value privacy, and some don't, think about when you're creating your campaigns, if you're asking them to share on social media, that is a huge ask, and it could have a very high barrier to action. Myth number 3. This is the myth of the millennial, especially in the US. The myth of the millennial that they all live in cities, they're all overeducated Harvard graduates, and they're white dudes with beards who live in Brooklyn. So this one really isn't true. Actually, most young people in the US live in the suburbs, not cities, and since 2000, the share of young people in cities has actually decreased with the rise of the millennial. And what about that Harvard education? Well, if you look at 25 to 34-year-olds, just over a third have a college degree, let alone from Harvard. And if you look at 18 to 24, only 40% of them are in university at any given time. College student and young people are not synonymous. So back to this guy. I did the math, and whether they live in the cities or the suburbs, less than 10% of millennials are white dudes with beards. You are not the average millennial, and your coworkers in the office aren't either. So that 5-person focus group or that sort of media think piece is not going to cut it if you want to understand this generation. And it's not going to cut it if you want to understand the next generation. This is my favorite graphic from Vox because it works for every single person in this room. Today's teens have babies less than you did, fight less than you did, do drugs less than you did, have sex less than you did. Today's teens are better than you and me. Myth number 4. That digital is everything. Put all your money there, speak in hashtags, and use text messages. Of course, digital is important, but it's not the only thing. When we look at Do Something's 275 campaigns, the most successful are those with an offline component. You must be creating things for young people to talk about, to have a conversation about, that happen in the real world. So IRL, in real life, it might not be better than digital, but it shouldn't be forgotten. Word of mouth, the best type of marketing, only 77% of word of mouth happens online. More than 90% happens offline. And that's why those conversations in the real world are so critical. Myth number 5 is about choice. We always read that autonomy is the key to getting this next generation. And so we get books like this, 500 Ways to Change the World. Talk about choice paralysis. It often leads to young people doing nothing. Autonomy isn't always the answer. And Do Something saw that very recently with a recycling campaign we created. We called it 50 cans, not 5 ways to recycle or 5 ways to change the world. No, we chose for them. We said, please recycle 50 aluminum cans. Sounds pretty simple and boring, but choosing for them meant that we created the largest aluminum can recycling drive in the country. And also look at the creativity that we got once people didn't have to make choices about what they were doing. Young people want to be told what to do, not by their parents or a lot of the people in this room, but when you're creating social change campaigns for anyone of any age, think about specificity instead of leaving things open-ended. So I know I sound pretty earnest, but I am a millennial, and these young people are the ones who are going to be changing the world now and in 2030. So we can't stereotype them, we can't generalize, we need to look at the data, and we must know these young people. Thank you so much.